What's up, YouTube? I'm gonna start saying traders. What's up, day traders? It's your boy Nasdaq Soldier, and I'm gonna be coming back recording my trades. Uh, I'm still unprofitable, but we're gonna try to make a change. We're gonna try to make that change, but I feel like my biggest problem is crashing out. I crash out because I be doing good, and then I crash out and I give all my profits back. So that's what we finna be working on. Like, no more crash outs. I'm finna be 33 in 4 more days, March 5th. I feel like I just need to mature more in my trading and just stop crashing out. Stop being a crash out. Cause it hurt me. But yeah, right now I'm just finna go over my trades for the week. I normally get 1 to 2 setups within my trading time. My trading time is from really 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock, but around about, because that's like the sweet spot for volume. Markets open up at 8:30 Central Time for me, and that's when it be too much volume, you know, 8:30. And around about 9:30 to about 11, price smooth on out, and that be like the sweet spot to take trades. But it don't be bad to catch it from like, around 9 o'clock, 9:15 on. The volume still kind of heavy, but with the setup there and the potential, I can get, like a 1 to 2 because of the volume with my setup. Uh so yeah, we just finna go over them. Already got them marked up. All right. The market in the downtrend. It got resistance right here. We can see that. And it got support down here, which I need to start marking up support and resistance, before every start of my sessions. But, sometimes it'll mess me up, but it's good to have them set up. Okay. We see we in the downtrend. We hit this resistance up here and, market open and it starts selling off. So around this time, we should be looking for our setup while it's in the downtrend, which would be a supply setup. And a supply would basically be a black candle going below a white candle. Like right here, this black candle going below this white candle, that's a supply setup for me. But since that's around market open, we ain't even worried about that one. And as we keep going, you see right here, this was almost a white candle. So this really constitutes as a supply as this black candle selling up under here. Well, I constitute that as a potential setup because it's in a downtrend and just a couple points off, this would have been a white candle. So that's one setup. As we keep going, we don't see no other ones. This one don't count. No, that's too thick. So that don't count. We keep going by, we see another one right here. Because this black candle went past this white candle. So that's the two setups right there. All right, let's zoom in on the day, on the 1 minute. Okay. This is where it broke out at. And the furthest level for it to pull back to is this last white candle. And that's what it is. And based off of this, we usually put our trend line like this. If this was the setup and that was the furthest level, that would have been a perfect entry. But I think I took this one all because of what was price doing. I think I took this one right here. But other than that, with the setup and it's pulling back to the area and this rejection, we don't get in on rejections like that, on rejection candles. We get in on full candles. So this would be an entry. And I could draw a trend line up right here because we want, it to break a trend strong. But I don't want to be having to drag this one way over here. And it just look crazy. But, that's really, it, you know, breaking a trend line strong like that. That's really it. But I usually wanted to keep it close like this. But it's all the same. If you keep watching, if anybody keep watching, you'll be able to see in the long run of how that play out. I'm gonna do high volume, and matter of fact, we'll do the 1-to-1 with 100 ticks and see what it look like. Wow, see, coming from the furthest area was the setup, and it wouldn't even took us out. And wow, that's a 1-to-1. We'll do the high volume. It would have been a 1-to-2. That's just the setup. I would have played out. I think I took this one, and I don't know what I got out of it. 1-to-1 or 1-to-2. But yeah, that's that setup. Okay, that's the second setup we got. Going with the trend in this day. It broke out. The furthest level it could come to was right here. Okay, we draw a trend line coming from that area. We never got a break. But again, I think with this setup and it's on a downtrend, I think I took this. I think I took this one. It would have came almost to a 1-to-1 right there. Yeah, I think I took this one and I waited this whole time. I think I did. Yep, because I remember waiting. And I waited this whole time for it to play out for a 1-to-1. And we could do high volume 1-to-2. What it did. Yep, it would have played out. 1-to-2 would have played out. And that's our two setups for that day. We're not guaranteed two setups, but most of the time it give us at least almost 2 to 3 setups a day. One be almost, you could say, guaranteed, because it's supply and demand, and price reacts off supply and demand, so it be kind of guaranteed one, but it ain't automatic all the time, and you could get probably 2 to 3, but yeah, that's what happened that day. All right, on to the next day. That was Monday. Here go Tuesday. What we did on Tuesday? Around this time, did I take this one? I don't know, but yeah, you see it broke structure to the upside. It was still at this same support. Turn it to resistance just to turn back into support. Crazy, right? And this a buy setup right here. You see this, it's basically a supply setup. A demand setup. This white candle pushing past this last black candle. That's a demand setup. It gave a supply setup right here. It gave this supply setup. I think I had that supply setup set up, but then once I seen it come up there to that furthest area and sold down, and then it couldn't push past this demand, it made me be able to trust that buy. Yep, I took this setup. Yep, let's go to the 1 minute and check it out. Look how perfect it is. It's crazy how this junk be working like that. But it's supply and demand. Okay, once it broke out, the furthest level it could come was right here. But I didn't take this first entry. Well, I think it went to a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2. Let's see. Man, where my stuff at? 100 ticks. 100 ticks 1-to-1. So yeah, the 1-to-1 came in for sure. Let's see if it went to a 1-to-2. Nope, it wouldn't have made a 1-to-2. But the 1-to-1 came, but I didn't even take that one. Only because I had a sell set up too. And it came up there and reacted off of it. And I think a 1-to-1 would have probably played out if I was going for sales, but I didn't trust it. And then at this point, it's still like a little bit of a lot of volume. So we want to go with the trend. And I think I end up getting in right here. Yep. And I had got a 1-to-2 that day. Same setup, came to the demand, reacted off of it. I ain't take the first one. I ain't trust it, but then it gave a second one. And I had got that 1-to-2. Same setup. Same setup. Hold on, that was one. Let's see if we can find another one. Cause they normally give like 2 setups at least. And look, right here, it gave us setup, but I guarantee I marked this setup up. It didn't give us the trend line break for us to keep going to take that buy. And it's way up here. It ain't in the right area. But this one right here, it gave this demand. And go to the 1 minute. And the reason it's a demand, let me make sure I say why. The reason it's a demand, because this long white candle pushed past this black candle. That's why it's a demand. So go to the 1 minute. Like that one, this one right here. Mark the furthest area right here. See, it just pushed up out of here and didn't return back just yet. So we waiting and waiting. And bow. See right here, it came back to that demand. It reacted off of it. But I didn't take this setup. I seen it and stuff like that, but I didn't take it. That would have been a 1-to-1, not yet right there, by a 1-to-1 would have happened right there off the demand. But if I would have waited until I actually got a full break through the trend line, this would have been the entry right here. And this would have been the 1-to-1 right there. And if it load up, it would have went to a 1-to-2. There you go. It would have went for a 1-to-2. But off that first one, I got a 1-to-2. I had I called it. Yeah, it's a 1-to-2. Because it be high volume, I have it marked up, a 1-to-1 with 200 ticks as the high volume for just in case. Volume be too much. I keep myself with some room, but I'm really trying to risk 100 ticks to get 200. But just because of the volume, I leave myself some room. But yeah, that's that one. 2 setups for that day. And shoot, that's it for that day. All right, on to Wednesday. We clearly in the uptrend. Market open, it shot up. So we looking for buys. No, but I don't know. I think I might have took a sell this day. Oh, I crashed out this day. Yeah, this the day I crashed out. Uh, I did have a sell set up. Yeah, this is right here. I supposed to be looking for buys. Like this almost was a demand, but didn't actually do it right how we wanted. Uh, but yeah, I end up marking up this sell setup, and it did give a 1-to-1, but I held it, and it ended up taking me out for a loss. And after that, I just kept trying to sell this day, and I kept trying to sell, and y'all see what happened. You know, murder she wrote. Like I even got off the charts after I took a couple losses, and then I ended up coming back in. I think probably somewhere around here, and I was still just kept trying to sell. I still kept trying to sell, and I crashed out that day. But what I was supposed to do is, if I would have just chilled out, you know, it's on the uptrend, and just wait for a buy setup. This actually constitutes as a buy setup right here. With that white candle pushing above there like that, and then coming back, I'm gonna just mark it up right now and go look at the 1 minute to see what it did. And then this one right here, buy setup, because it's in the uptrend. This white candle pushing out above this one, you know, it's showing that buy is trying to take it over or take it back over. But let's come on the 1 minute and check it out and see what actually happened. See, once it broke out, the furthest it could come was literally this last black candle. And it came back in here, it pushed up. But if I draw my trend line like this, it never gave a full. That's why trend lines help me. Like it helped me. I avoided a loss by using that trend line right there. It didn't break past the trend line strong right there. So that's telling me that buyers ain't really just strong in the market yet. Well, strong off that demand. So I wouldn't have took that setup anyway. Okay. And now we have this new setup right here. It broke out. The furthest it could come was right here. And look, this is our only trend line that we got to use for it to break out strong out of. And it never did. Never did. Look, still ain't break out strong. And then we don't want to take that second one. We want to be in on that first one that's coming out that area. But like it takes some getting used to. Like you gotta look at what price doing too. And I don't know, it just takes some getting used to. Using my trend lines and not using them. It just takes some getting used to. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would have took that one. I don't know. But yeah, we could mark it up. Let me mark it up. Uh this is the one that actually broke the trend line. So we'll mark that up. And yeah, it would have took some time. It wouldn't have took us out, and it would have hit the 1-to-1 right there. And so as we see, even if we would have waited for a second reentry, like with this strong bullish candle right there, and we would have participated going with the trend, it would have took some time, but it would have played out still too. You know, if I was going with the trend how I was supposed to and just waited, you know, it was setups, and it did what it was supposed to do. uh, it would have played out. So yeah, that's the two setups for that day. You can say Thursday. Okay, sellers in the market. Market open. They broke down. Sell. Boom. They gone. So all we gotta do is wait for a sell setup going with the trend. This a sell setup down here. I'll mark it up, just to, see. Hold on, what I'm doing. Yeah, we'll mark this one up because the black candle pushed past this white one in a downtrend. So we'll mark it up. We're gonna go in and investigate. I think I caught a buy right here. I did catch a buy setup off of here because it gave this buy setup, and I was just watching what price was doing in the moment, and I caught a 1-to-1 off of that. It just take time to develop to see what price doing, and all this buying volume. But yeah, we supposed to be looking for sales, but we can counter trend trade if everything line up. So this the sell setup. Oh, and right here, uh I took this one. Like, this black candle didn't push all the way down, but we in a downtrend. Oh, this is set up right here. I'm pretty sure I had this one marked up. That's the setup. And again, back to this one right here. This black candle pushed past this white one. I had this one marked up because of what price was doing. It was under this EMA. That's the 14 EMA. I do use that as a confluence to the 14 EMA. So it's hard to cover everything, but whoever watching and seeing or whatever, y'all be able to see what I'm looking for and how I do it. I'm gonna start back recording myself, and I'm gonna be talking myself through the trades. So yeah, these two setups. Why did I delete this one? We're gonna go in and investigate them. All right. Wow. Got these setups. The furthest area it could come back is right here with this setup. And shoot, we basically ain't got no trend line to go on. Like right there, yeah, we can how this was set up, and it came from that area. I feel like it's pushing it. It's pushing it. But we'll look and see what it did. I don't know. 1-to-1. Yep. Hold on, nah. See, it got that volume coming up in here. So I wouldn't have did it like that. I would have did high volume. And look, we would have lost off that one. It's like it's too congested, too much volume back and forth right here. It's just not smooth. But I didn't take that one anyway. I didn't take that one. But I marked it up because it was a setup. And I feel like I probably didn't take it because of the volume and how price was acting right there. Had to be. Then it was selling down so much, and now that buying volume coming back in like that, it's like it was too congested. But yep, I did catch a buy setup up in here. It was a setup, and I caught a 1-to-1 because of what price was doing. But okay, on to this next sell setup. Price never pulled back up to it, so we left that one. It gave another setup opportunity right down here. Further as it could come was wrong one. Further as it could come was this last white candle right here, and we draw our trend line up to price entering that level, and price did enter that level. We want this first candle to be the one to break our trend line coming from that area. So I don't think I took it right off right there, but we'll mark it up as if I did just to see. what would have happened? Okay, it wouldn't have went up and stopped us out, and that would have been a 1-to-1 right there. But I think I caught it on the next one. Had my trend line drawn up, and look, they ain't the same entry from that candle to this one, same entry, and I think I caught that one and got that 1-to-1. You know, first black, well, not first black candle, but black candle, full volume coming from that area right there. We got in on it, 1-to-1. And I was done right there. Got that 1-to-1 and that 1-to-1. I was done. Price came back up there, reacted off of it again right there, but we was already done. So we wasn't worried about nothing else no more. Okay, last day, Friday. I am a part-time UPS driver, and I had to drive this day. Start time was at 9:30. So I had caught a quick setup before I had to go in. Price started out 8:30, pushed up from this area, rips out back and forth, and I seen this white candle push up past this black one. I had marked this one up as a demand. And I'll mark this one up too, just to mark it up, because I think this was part of a confluence too around this time. Yep, because this the one I actually traded off of. So let's go to the 1 minute. And see, the first setup, price pushed out of it. The furthest it could come back to was this black one right here. It never came back to it, and it had gave us that second setup that we got drawn up right here. And the furthest it could come back to was this last black candle. And when it came back to this last black candle right here and pushed up, I didn't enter right there. I waited for a bullish candle to come up off of that one, and I entered in right there. And I went for a 1-to-2 on high volume, and we had got that quick 1-to-2 really, because I really be trying to risk only 100 ticks, because what I be risking is like $150 to make 300, but I give myself that wiggle room. So basically, like risking 300 to make 300, but that's just in case. But really, I be risking basically that right there. But because of the high volume, so yeah, that had played out right there. And this was a range day. Anybody that bought every time it came back to this area and bought right there, about 1-to-1 or 1-to-2, you could say, bow again, coming from this area, bow 1-to-1, 1-to-2. Like dang, every time it was a range day. But yeah, at least like 1-to-2 setups within the time frame that I'm looking for what I'm looking for. I'm working on not crashing out no more and just risking 150 to make 300 basically. And yeah, I'm finna come back, start back recording myself. Got a long way to go for profitability, but hey, I'm NASDAQ Soldier. I'm here for the journey. I'm here to ride it out until I get profitable, and that's just what it is. Whoever see, they see. Whoever don't, they don't. I go back and look at my old videos just for myself, and I'm literally trying to do the same thing I've been trying to do this whole time. I'm still trying to do the same thing, and it's crazy, but I see it. I see the stuff I be needing to correct. I be seeing it all, and I just gotta stick through and keep trying to make it how I'm trying to make it. So yeah, Nasdaq Soldier signing out. Yo.